Well, so now you guys should have all these fringes on here. They look crooked. That's fine. They'll get straightened out. Um, they're coming out like static hair, like my hair looks in the morning. So once you get your last one done, you weave your thread around the beads, where the thread don't show, and then you come back up through the same bead that you came out of to make the last fringe feather. Okay, and then once you do that, you go back up your last fringe feather and you come out because you're going to have the accent bead, the bugle bead, then the accent bead. So you want to go up and come out the second accent right after the bugle bead. Get your needle to come out right after. So it comes out that bead right there. And then you bring, and this is the only one you're going to hook up right now, and then we're going to ladder stitch across. And when you're done with the last bead and ladder stitch, then you're going to go and attach this the same way you're attaching this. So you want to kind of bend it and even up with the, if you notice on your pattern that edge, it's this bead right here on your pattern. This is where the fringe starts. So these are, the fringe beads, all the fringe beads, fringe, fringe beads. So you want to attach that feather, bend it to the side and attach it, ladder stitch it. You're ladder stitching it, and go around it a couple of times. And then we'll continue on how to ladder stitch, how we're going to ladder stitch. It's basically like going around in a circle a couple of times. You want to go around at least, oops, I put it in through the wrong side. You got to make sure it doesn't twist up like that. Taking it out. This thread has gotten frayed and it's causing it to tangle up. So you put it to the side and the thread's coming out through that side, so you're going to put it in through that side, the bottom and then up. And go twice around it. Just to make sure it's secure. Okay, so that's secured on there. Now what you want to do when you bring your needle back up through the bead, go up that bead, go up the next bead and one of the side beads, just like that. And this is where your ladder stitch comes in. And I'm going to do a few before I come up, start the next video. I will. Okay, so that's attached. Once we do all the brick stitch all the way around, you're going to attach the last one just like that one, but you've got to make sure they're either bent in or out all at the same time. So to start the ladder stitch, you can use your choice of bead colors. I'm going to use a crystal beads in between, so I don't know if you can see them, to give it that spread out look. Like I said, you can use another one I've used, actually the same color, and I forgot to color those in. The same color as the feather tip. And this one I'm doing a crystal bead just to give it that, I guess, it's not gonna be noticeable when it's on there as much. So you've got that crystal bead on there, and you're ladder stitching it on. So the thread's coming out there, you put the bead, and then you go back under that bead. And the new bead, you want to go through it twice to secure it. I'm gonna go slow. Make sure it's flat against the bead. And it's a ladder stitch. Try not to get it tangled like I do. So it's ladder stitched on there, and then you bring the next feather over, and you're gonna attach it to this bead. So what you're doing is you're putting a bead in between each as you're ladder stitching it together. I would be holding it another way, but I'm on video, so it's different. I'm having to hold it different. So make sure they're flushed against each other, and you just attach them together. It's like going in a circle around them. Gentle tug. Bring it back up the bead. So you have that attached. The crystal in between those, or whatever color bead you're using, and the thread coming out this bead. Now you want to make sure you go to the next bead next to it. And then pick up your next bead that you're adding and attach it. And some people might be going left, right. It doesn't really matter whether you're going left, right-handed, left-handed, as long as you ladder stitch a bead in between each of the feathers. And mine might be a little off because I cut quills. instead of using bugle beads, I'm using leftover porcupine quills that I had left over, because I'm out of in all bugle beads. I haven't really had none in a long while. Make sure it's flushed and then go over it again. Again, as I said, always secure, go twice over the new bead. You don't have to the other one when you're attaching it. That's your choice, because it's already like it's going through two. See, I made this quill a little bit too large. You've got to be careful when you cut. I've got to make sure I cut that tip off without cutting the thread. No worries, the thread's to the other side. So you bring the next one over, attach it. Like I said, it's like going around in a circle. And if you're using porcupine quills, you've got to make sure you cut them the correct size. Sometimes I tend to cut one larger than the other, or but I've got my tiny scissors if I have to bend the thread and trim it down a little bit. Bring it up to the next bead. Okay, you're adding a new bead again. I've decided to try to see how these crystals look in between. You can use any color. You can use the same color as the tip of the feather. White, silver. You can use any color you want. Red. I have one person who's doing red on hers. And hers is looking pretty nice. And I believe she's doing the heart in the middle. I was gonna do before I finished that part of the pattern. I should have put a little hummingbird. I'll probably attach a hummingbird later to it. Okay, so we've got that new bead attached. Bring this over and hook those two up together. And see, it looks like I did this bowl a little bit too big. That'll fix later. If you're using Nemo, um, it's good to stretch it before you do any kind of brick stitch. But if you're doing something like this, don't stretch it. You don't want to stretch it because when you're putting this, or if you're a little uneven here, you'll have that stretch, or it'll kind of straighten everything out. I know it's you probably end up with more tangles if you're not careful, if you don't stretch it. Um, but it helps. But if you're using the bugles or 5 extra beads to replace the bugles, and stretch it. You can stretch it. It's on the porcupine quill. I didn't stretch this one, so it kind of twists up on me because I don't have it stretched. I'm going to do 2 more, and hopefully you've figured out, hopefully you got the idea how to ladder stitch the headdress. Sorry, I'm going out of camera here. I'm just surprised my dogs are being very quiet today. I guess because I got on to them for fighting. So this is my 3rd time videotaping. I've done it twice. The first time, I don't know what happened to the videos. I was using my camera. The second time, I posted them on YouTube. Well, I violated copyright laws by playing the background music. And believe me, I love beating with music. And I'm like, I guess I better not put music on while doing this. And just get it done. So I had to start a new pair of earrings with no music, no dogs in the house. They are outside, but the door's open so I can keep an eye on them. Yesterday, there was 2 aggressive dogs that showed up trying to get into my fence. And they had, the police department, the animal control. Apparently, they bit a few people. And they found the owners of dogs, I guess, and they took all her dogs. She lived kind of like across the street, past the alley, and I seen them taking the dogs, and I told the animal control that one of them almost bit me when I was trying to get my little one away from barking before that, because I seriously thought it was going to jump the fence and get her. And the pup, even though she's bigger and tries to act vicious, but she's still a pup. And she actually got scared and ran in the house, but continued her aggressive barking. And this is not the first time their dogs have gotten away. I didn't know those belonged to them. I knew they had 2 Shih Tzus and a pet bull that has gotten out, and they were friendly. I actually put them in the fence, put them on Facebook, and they came for them. These 2 dogs I didn't know belonged to them, and apparently they did, and they were aggressive. I don't know what kind of dogs they were. I think they were an Australian Shepherd mix. And one was a follower. The other one, you could tell, was the leader. And the leader is the one that actually tried to bite me, but I finally chased them away, got my water hose, but they kept coming back after a little bit. Next thing you know, I saw all kinds of police, and I guess somebody had called animal control and the police and trying to catch them. So they did a good job, and they caught them. For the police to get involved like they did, it was a bad situation with those dogs. I'm just glad they didn't jump my fence. That's what I was worried about. They were going to have a fight on their hands if they got a hold of my little pups, especially my older one. Okay, see how it's coming along the brick stitch? You're going to notice this might get a little warped, but it'll start straightening out, because once it starts warping, these beads, you'll pop them in place, but you don't want to do it now until it's all brick stitched. So I'm going to do 2 more brick stitches, and then I'll start off with the third video on what's next. Let me do the 3, and then I'll kind of show you what we'll be doing next. Just attach these on. And as far as the fringe, oh, did I put it in the wrong side? I sure did. The fringe, you can do that before you do this or after. It's not no biggie. Get that out of there. I didn't secure this twice. This is what I mean if you don't secure it twice. Your beads will twist up, so I probably run some more thread through this, because this one's getting frayed. Okay, this one's gonna go on the bottom below. Take your time and don't rush it, and always check your beads at when you're adding that extra bead. Like I said, secure it twice. Go twice around it, and make sure the thread's going in through the right end, in or out, because if not, it will twist. Your beads will be twisted, and it'll be noticeable. Okay. And earlier I mentioned that the 2 beads together, which I did it on this side, the 2 feathers together. These 2 here is actually what's going to cause it to start folding back. And if you want, you can actually add 2 on each side, but it really isn't needed. It'll give it more of if you do add it, which I tried it, it'll give it more of a square look. With just doing it on one side, it gives it the rounded look. So if you want that square look, that's fine. Just you can add an extra one on there. Let's see, did I secure it twice? Yes. And I'm really hoping that this video comes out clear. On my end, it's looking clear. As far as seeing it, I don't know until I view it. And if it doesn't, then I'll be starting another pair until I get it right. Excuse me. Fire line, did I tangle it up in here? Fire line will work really well with the headdress. Anywhere on this earring, which, you know, it makes your beadwork much stiffer. But you don't want to use fire line. I don't use fire line. It's just too expensive for me. So I use Nemo, and the Nemos that I buy, they last me a long time. I don't even buy the big one. Just that I live close enough to where if I run out, I can get more. I'm thinking I'm gonna change out my thread and kind of weave back into them. Okay, so that's your brick stitch. So brick stitch all the way across while attaching these. One bead in between. And if you recall the middle, this one, you attach it. But when you're attaching it, make sure these are going either that way, back, or that way. All of them. That way you're able to attach and secure it. If you have a lot of thread left over and you still have to do your fringe, then kind of weave around these beads and then come back down where the fringe starts right here, and you can start your fringes. Well, after I will be back with the third video on how to finish off the headdress. This is not finished off. And I'll show you how to use this, which this is 1 3/4 inch memory wire. You can use this, or but don't go get the stainless steel. This is hard to work with. I got the wrong one. You want to get one that'll bend easier for you. Or 6 to 7 inch piece of wire. This one's sterling silver. If you plan on using sterling silver earring post or whatnot, I'm going to use a sterling silver earring post, but I'm just going to show how to do this. This is 20 gauge, or you can use 22 gauge. And you can work hard in that by rubbing your fingers back and forth, or if you have, hold on, let me, nylon pliers. but your fingers will work just as well. You can just go, rub it back and forth like that, and it'll harden. It work hardens it. It gets stiffer. So, you can do that and have it ready. If that's what you plan on using, jewelry wire. It doesn't matter what kind. It could be copper or silver, silver plate. Just jewelry, wire wrapping jewelry. Just wire to make jewelry. But it has to be at least a 20 or 22 gauge. This one's seems like it's a 22 gauge as far as the thickness, but it's hard to cut. So I will be back. So go ahead and finish brick stitching and see you back on the third video.